Hi everyone, Teresa Aker here from Success Diaries with Teresa Aker. It's my pleasure today to bring you Jennifer Lyall. How you doing, Jennifer?
Awesome, thank you. So excited for our conversation today, Teresa.
I love your energy. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Jennifer, I'm going to do a quick bio about you and then we're going to come back to you, okay?
Mhm.
So she is the intuitive business mentor and chief energy optimizer. So let's
Yeah.
start there. What is that? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so an intuitive business mentor is, I chose those words because I believe that I am like more of a mentor than a coach, helping entrepreneurs with leaning into trusting themselves more in their business. So I blend intuition with business strategy to support visionary entrepreneurs with growing their business with ease, dropping the overthinking, dropping the overwhelm, getting really clear on what it is that they want to create. And I call myself a different kind of CEO, Chief Energy Optimizer, because I really believe that as we manage our energy, that transforms the outcomes that we experience in our relationships, in our business, in the world.
That's very interesting. So, if we can go back to the beginning, I was thinking, okay, so she's saying basically go with your gut,
Yes.
but the intuition, those thoughts you have, try to go more that way than go with all the doubts and the concerns and anxiety when you're growing your business. Does that sound like, am I on the right track?
Lean into belief that it's going to work out in your favor. But lean into that you are amazing and that you will figure it out. Yes.
Perfect, Jennifer. In fact, one of my talk shows or on my talk show, I do a bit of motivational speaking, and I actually say that be confident in yourself. Know that you know where you're going. This is your life. This is your plan. You don't have to worry. It's going to work out.
Yes. It's so important. We've just been indoctrinated with this idea of having to be afraid of things not working out. We seek security and certainty, and it's never guaranteed. But when we can believe in ourselves more and know that whatever inspiration came to us landed in our hearts, landed in our imaginations because it's possible. Now, the timeline, we never know how that's going to unfold, but I really believe it is possible as long as we keep believing in that too.
Perfect. Now, do you go into companies and talk to organizations, or do you do one-on-one? What type of business do you do?
I support mainly service-based entrepreneurs. They tend to have a smaller team, although I do also go into some corporations. I'm on a mission to teach 1 million people how to check their inner battery as often as they check their phone battery. So I've opened conferences. I am intending to do more energy boost breaks during conferences to help keep everybody engaged with the content that they're sharing in the conference. And I do corporate retreats and workplace wellness programs for those who are forward thinking with their workplace wellness strategies and want to see real transformation rather than, oh, we have to have some lunch and learn. So let's just throw some lunch and learns out. I'm not about that. My program is much more in depth, and the repetition creates the habit of transformation that impacts the culture within the organization.
When you say that, do you go to the companies or do you do it online? What is your preferred mode of
Yeah.
business?
I could do either.
Okay. When you're talking to corporations, when you're talking to companies and you're doing the group, are you doing the leadership side of it or the entire team?
It depends on what the goals are for the organization and who I'm talking to. So I can do it for the leadership team, which then can trickle down into the rest of the team. Or if I've made a connection with specific team leaders, like sales, for instance, because how your energy is impacts your sales performance tremendously, then it might be just for the specific team.
Okay, so growth, sales growth, management growth, leadership growth, all of that, but allowing them to feel it, to know where they're going and to be confident in themselves and move forward and know that they're just going to arrive where they're supposed to arrive. Does that make sense?
Yes, and it's that real understanding how to expect success. So that belief,
Okay.
holding that belief. So I blend in this idea of checking your inner battery, which is based on mindfulness principles, weaves in some neuroscience as well. and visualization to help with staying on target for what it is that you're trying to create, and also bringing in some psychology so that they can stay focused and understand how their brain works. So you're training your brain for success.
That's very interesting. So you're really looking at the really the intuitive, emotional side of life and bringing that forward and saying, okay, you can be logical, but there is a intuitive side that you can add to it and enhance your life, right?
Absolutely. Blending the
What
intuition with the business strategy. Absolutely.
now, do you do courses like do you have a course that curriculum that people can buy or purchase, or what do you have going on? Talk to us about that, Jennifer.
I am publishing my second book that is going to be teaching how to check your inner battery. That's going to be coming out this summer. And there will be an e-course that will go with it. And then there also will be a live course that can go with it. So that's the curriculum that then goes into the workplace. And I can modify it to be 4 week, 6 week, 8 week, or 10 weeks long, depending on the depth of the transformation. As you're immersed in it longer, then people go deeper and they have that habit more established, and it has a deeper transformation within the organization too, and within the individuals themselves. There was one team that I supported, and it was fascinating. It was a real estate team. And as people started to become self aware, you actually stop and ask yourself, how am I feeling? And physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, they became aware of the patterns of how they're behaving and how they would get stuck in certain thinking patterns, or the way they would speak, or the assumptions that they would make, and how it was impacting their relationships. Once they were able to start to communicate what was really going on within themselves, then they were able to have better conversations. So for instance, even one of the agents, her daughter is very high strung, has a lot of energy. Bedtime was not fun for her. And so she started to share with her that, you know what, mommy, my inner battery is getting really low and mommy needs to settle down to get to sleep. And the daughter, with all the tethering to technology that we have these days, understood that, and it transformed the bedtime routine. So mom got to get some rest, was able to communicate with the daughter in a way that she could understand. And it's a little thing like that, but then that meant that she could sleep better, and then she could be performing better in her role as a real estate agent during the day. Another client of mine, she has a transportation company, and we worked on this idea of energy management. She was always a very do, go kind of person, and she was starting to resent her business because she was starting to become aware of how she was showing up, how she was interacting with her team. Her husband is her partner. She recognized that things would come up in the business and she'd be stewing about it in her head, and then talking with her husband about it and stewing about it for weeks, carrying that feeling for weeks. And it was impacting her performance, her relationships, and her perception, her relationship with her business. So as she started to become aware of all of this, and instead of just getting all stressed out, she was taking pauses to do things to boost up her energy. And it was transforming how she was able to problem solve, how she was able to coach her team members, how she was able to help them with problem solving too. And it also was helping her to shut down at the end of the day and actually create some downtime for herself. But the biggest moment that was such an eye opener for her was a day when she had not one, not two, but three crises show up. And normally one would send her sideways and have her stewing for weeks. But she was able to navigate through this, trusting in her intuition, because there was some funny business going on with one of these situations. And at the end of the day, she's, oh my gosh, I made it through that. And she felt good and also complete with it. So she didn't have to stew because she felt good about the decisions. She felt good about how she led herself through those situations, how she navigated through. Is transformational.
Well done. Oh, I like that, Jennifer. So what I definitely listened to what you said. It sounds like you work with tools. Would you be working with things like meditation, mindfulness? Uh,
Mm.
so really on the journey, taking care of self so that you can move forward and bring that into the working world on a calmer basis. Would that make sense to you?
Yes, there is some, it's not just meditation, it's not just self-care. What we're doing is what psychologists call active awareness. So you're becoming very self-aware of who you're being and how you're doing and developing self-compassion. So rather than just pushing through things, you're taking this pause to make sure that you're showing up as the best version of yourself.
Okay.
And then also because you are becoming more aware of yourself, you also become more aware of others because you
Right.
see the patterns in them that you're seeing in yourself. So it creates more self-compassion, opens up the dialogue. So people, you can help people navigate through things too.
Very good. Now, I heard you say your next book. So you have a first book?
Yes, my
Do we have
first
that
book,
in front of you right now?
I do not have it within
Okay. What's
arm's
the
reach.
title of your book?
It's called The Beginner's Guide to the Soul.
And do we buy that on Amazon?
It is available
Places?
on Amazon. Thank you for asking.
Absolutely. We'll make sure that we have it on here because that's important. And it would have all the tools that we're looking for, I would imagine, in that book. Can you give us a little synopsis about it?
So that's for people who are diving into their spiritual journey, becoming curious about spirituality and their own inner relationship and relationship, whatever higher power it is that they're believing in. I actually wrote that book initially in 2012,
Okay.
but I didn't publish it until 2020. So it took me a long time to have the courage to publish it for a number of reasons because I was at a different place when I first wrote it. My business was at a different place when I first wrote it. But I also got that it needed to be written and published so I could have the experience of publishing the book so I would be ready to publish my second book.
It sounds like you've had quite the journey through life. And you mentioned spirituality. So
Mhm.
everything that, and I knew I had you on the show because you had the inner peace kind of idea. And I like that. I really like that. I definitely see viewers looking and saying, Jennifer offers something that I could do that would help me calm down, help me refocus and go forward without anxiety and pressure because we do have a lot of pressure in life, don't we?
We do, absolutely.
And I would also add that, and I guess I keep thinking of the spirituality, the intuition. We do ignore that because I think sometimes we let the external forces, other people perhaps, give us doubt or question what we're doing. We're thinking, oh, we respect that person and we respect their opinion, but sometimes we let it override. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yes.
Do you work with a lot of people who start businesses, like perhaps online businesses, people like that, or are you more into going to working with corporations?
Most of my work is more with online and service-based business owners and
Okay.
less so with corporations at the moment. So I tend to work with those who are have already been in business for at least a year. They have an idea of what they're creating, but they need to build momentum. So they might be reaching for their first six figures, or they already have an established business and they want to pivot in a new direction. And they're having all the feels of, oh my gosh, can I really do this again? Because they're going in a new direction, whether it's a new target market or a completely new business. And so there's a lot to work through of being seen for this new way of leading or this new area of expertise or this new passion.
I would think there's a lot of people too that are perhaps semi-retired or
Mhm.
want to start a side hustle for themselves to make some more money. And it is intimidating, isn't it, at first?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, definitely. I had a hard time when I started my business, and then I focused on wellness when I first started. And I was such a smarty pants, so in my head, and was like, why is this not working? Why is this not achieving the level of success that I wanted to? But I was so worried and restricting myself because it had to work out in a particular way that I was restricting and preventing my own success because I was so scared of making a mistake. I had to surrender. I was so unhappy. And I just had this moment where it was March of 2010, and I just gave myself permission to figure out what made my heart sing. And then I had all of these interesting experiences, all these synchronicities started to happen. And that's when I dove into my spiritual journey. I had attended a networking event where we were encouraged to exchange services just to help each other. And this lady stood up and said, I'll do a soul reading if someone can help me in my business. And so this was 2010. I had my business started in 2008 and I had a video podcast. So this was when podcasting was at its infancy. And so I said, oh, I can help you with understanding how to create a podcast. And so that soul reading that she did for me, it just took me into a completely different world that I never would have otherwise explored. And if I didn't, I don't even know who I would be, to be honest.
What a great journey. That's wonderful, Jennifer. Now, if I was to ask you, and I'm going to put you on the spot, three
Mhm.
tips for someone that you could help them with, what would they be today?
Number one is don't just push, 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 push.
Okay.
Take those pauses because even though you think that pushing will get it all done, the way you create it or the way it unfolds, there'll be some sort of regret or you'll have to fix it. You're better off just taking a few minutes to take some deep breaths, go outside for a walk, play with your cat or dog just to feel better rather than pushing through. Number two, have the courage to follow the nudge. Have the courage to follow the nudge of what's inside, follow the joy. If you don't quite know how to understand what that nudge is saying, just follow what makes you feel good because it's that feeling of feeling good that's going to actually take you on an amazing treasure hunt that will take you to new heights that you never knew was possible for your own personal satisfaction and success. And the last one is believe in yourself. You are so powerful. You are capable of so much more than you realize. And when you have the courage to believe in yourself, believe in your success over your failure, you can accomplish so much. So many doors will open for you.
Said, that's really well done. I like that. Now, if so somebody comes to you and says, Jennifer, I'm not quite sure. I really want to do this, but I'm nervous and I'm not sure what direction to go. And I'm filled with all of this doubt. What's the first thing you're going to tell me?
Oh my gosh, first I'm going to get them into a good feeling place because trying to talk to them from that place where they're stuck in the lack and the worry, we can't accomplish anything there. So first we're going to get them into a good feeling place. So typically that might be a guided meditation that I might take them through just to help them with, or just imagining like doing some releasing, like imagining picking all the heaviness off of them.
I
So
like
I
that.
want to get them into a good feeling place. And then we would be dropping into their heart and letting them have the space to get all of these ideas that are percolating out on paper. Get it just out so it can be seen, it can be heard. Because ideas, I believe, have their own souls, they have their own missions. So it's dropped into you for a reason, and then you get to choose. It's like being at the buffet of life. All right, we have 5 things that are here. Then we will review each one, see which ones feel best, and I'll walk them through my intuitive business decision making quadrant. We'll look at the logical, we'll look at what feels good intuitively, and help them pick the best ideas for them.
Excellent. I like that. You
It's
you
so
really
fun.
do get to the heart of the matter, as they will say, right?
Absolutely. Just last week, I was in a conversation with a multipreneur. So he has 5 or 6 businesses. He had this amazing opportunity there. He's, I've got this piece of paper. I've been invited into this prestigious circle, but I'm holding back and I don't know why. And there's 2 other colleagues that are familiar with this group. They're like, yeah, go for it, do it. Like, you just sign it and just say yes. But I could see the resistance. And so I took him through a process similar to what I just described, where we leaned into what's really going on here. And we got that it is a yes for him, but just not right now. 2026 is better aligned for everything that he's got on his plate with some new business acquisitions he had. So
Oh, that's
when you,
interesting.
yes, when you tune into the energy, it could be sometimes it's a yes, just not right now. Or it could be a yes, but maybe not with this specific opportunity or this. If it's a training or a partnership, maybe it's yes to that kind of partnership, but not just with that particular person or particular organization.
So how would you draw that out? Let's say I have the resistance there. How do you draw that out? So you get into a good place. you get
Yes.
into your comfort level, and now
Yes.
you're able to, do you go with thoughts that basically come up, or are you talking
So
story? What happens then?
great questions. I have an intuitive decision making process
Oh, okay.
where we can get into the logicals. Okay, so what is the decision that we're making? And what is the outcome that you're seeking? So getting clear on what that outcome of what success looks like for that particular situation. And then we get into the logical of, all right, so what are the parameters for this particular thing from the logical perspective? Like it might be, there could be around investment, it could be around timing, it could be around the depth of whatever the program might be. So we get the logical things on paper. And then I take them through, all right, so when you think about what success is, and you look at this option on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel physically? On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel emotionally? On a scale of 1 to 10, and like where do you feel it physically in your body? And when you feel the emotions, what are the emotions that are coming up? On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel mentally? What are the thoughts that come up? And on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your gut tell you? And if you think about 3 years from now, how are you going to feel about this decision? And then we tally it up if you're evaluating a number of different options, and we'll see what ones have the best score. There was another situation where I was helping somebody evaluate different candidates for a position on their team. There was one that was an internal candidate, and the other person was an external candidate. So we went through all the logical stuff, we did all the ratings, and the ratings were very similar. But when I asked what comes up in your heart, for the internal person, he said, I feel like I'm going to be let down and disappointed. So, huh, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And but the score, it like logically, the internal person, it made sense because they were familiar with the company and there'd be a shorter learning curve. On Monday, so we were having this conversation over the weekend. On the Monday, the internal person withdrew her application, and within a month, she left the company.
Oh, wow.
So he had picked up on that intuitively.
Yeah, that's terrific. Well done. You are very good.
Just guiding people through the process.
Yeah.
Each individual is way more intuitive than they realize. We're just so used to being in our head. When we actually add in the extra layer of what's going on in our hearts and our intuition, we can make much more complete decisions with more confidence.
I like that, Jennifer. Now, what's the best place? I'm going to have all your information here, but what's the best place people can reach you?
JLYAL.com on my website. And I also do have information about my intuitive business decision making workshop too. If that process I just described is helpful for anyone, it's something you can watch at any time.
Perfect, because I'm going to, as I said, definitely have all your information here, Jennifer. Do you happen to have social media channels that you're using for your,
I
do you have
do, yeah.
YouTube by chance?
I do have YouTube, LinkedIn, uh,
LinkedIn?
Facebook, and Instagram.
Okay, so we'll make sure that we have all of those social medias on here as well. So Jennifer, thank you. I have one more question for you. Will you
Yes.
come back and see us again?
Oh my gosh, I would love to. You are just so wonderful. You have such a beautiful way of seeing people and of asking the most wonderful questions. It's like you are in the hearts of all of your viewers and asking the exact questions that would be coming up for them too. I
Oh,
love it.
Jennifer, thank you very much. And you are a warm person. I'm very glad we connected really well today, didn't we?
Ooh, we did. This was awesome. Thank you so much.
We have so much more, and you have your new book that's going to come out. We're going to make sure that we promote you there as well. To everyone else, this was Jennifer Lyall. Do take a look at all her social media. I'll make sure I have it all down here. Thank you, Jennifer. We appreciate your coming today. My name's Teresa Aker. I'm with Success Diaries with Teresa Aker. Please subscribe at the bottom and to Jennifer's page. We really appreciate it. I hope you're having a great day, and I look forward to talking to you all very soon. Thank you again. Bye-bye.